Oh, action. Okay. So just to run you through, I think what Molly ran us through last week was good information about how to kind of get everything into Excel. And now I think what I have been asked to do is sort of tell you how to play a little bit more with the data that's already within Excel. And so what I've done is I've uploaded a pretty basic spreadsheet that of data that we have. It's available here in Indiana. It's right off of our state Department of Education's website. And if you want to play along, this is the data. This is a link to it. And that's just, I put this up in a Google Doc, and you can download this exact spreadsheet that I'm working with. And you can follow along if you'd like here. This is what this basically is just demographic data for every single high school in the state. So at the top here, you can see the different things. This is the enrollment of students who are of a particular demographic backgrounds. For instance, white students here and Hispanic students here, et cetera, as well as free and reduced price lunches for non-education people. These are commonly used as socioeconomic indicators, so indicators of poverty. And so you have free and reduced price lunches as an option that sort of signify poverty. Paid meals, obviously, is everyone who's not considered to be in poverty, and then figures of total enrollment. And so what this data is good for is sort of teaching some kind of ground level skills for manipulating the data within Excel and using it to kind of draw conclusions and show trends that are helpful, because it's obviously you can't just look at this and sort, as Molly talked about sorting last week. You can't sort this data and actually compare schools to each other. You can just say which schools are the largest. So if you were to sort by just say paid meals or something like that, all this really shows you is that these schools here at the bottom are really small schools. So let's try and make it so that these are comparable in a way. And to do that, just to kind of start from basics of Excel, everything is obviously referenced on a grid. And that grid is the key to using Excel to be more than just a thing to display the data, but actually a thing to use to actually kind of do functions like finding sums and averages, dividing, adding, subtracting, all of the mathematical functions as well. So the cell that I have highlighted here, for instance, is K3 because it's in the K column, the 3 row. And so if you want to refer to it from another cell, you could say you hit the equals sign. That equal sign is important because it turns Excel into a calculator. So once you push the equal sign, all of a sudden everything changes. You're not just writing a static, if I write K3 in there, it doesn't really do anything. But if I hit equals K3, all right, so there's this blue box here, and now we're referring to K3. A couple of other things to know about referring to the cells, because this becomes important when you're talking about functions. If you want to refer to other cells in a row, you could hit a comma there, and then you hit K4. So now this cell is referring to both K3 and K4. Another comma, it's K5. If you want to do the exact same thing, you could add even K6, K7. If you want to do the exact same thing as that, I just did that because it confused it. That's not really doing anything right there. That's why it kind of screwed up there. But if you add in a colon, you're doing the same thing as the range there. So instead of referring to each of these individual cells, you have a range. So that's how you can refer to cells, and you can put this to use when you're trying to add up all of this data. So the task at hand here is what we're trying to do is figure out, for starters, how many students in a school are on free and reduced price lunch. And we use both of those commonly. Education people talk about this all the time when they're talking about free and reduced price lunch. But what this data does is splits it out for free and reduced. Well, the percentages we want to use and the rates we want to calculate are based out of an addition of these two numbers. So this is a good first step formula to sort of introduce you to the idea of the sum formula, which is basically the same thing as its addition and subtraction. Now you could, if you want to find the total number of free and reduced price lunch students at a school, you could just say equals and then refer to K2 as the cell, so you can type it in, or you can just click on it, which I'll do for, let's see, oh, I've got the wrong cell. It'd be K2, it'd be L2, and then reduced M2, and I'm just going to click on it, which shows, well, I'll click on M6. Click on M2 there. There you go. And that's the number of students on free and reduced price lunch in the school year 2013. And I'll add that kind of, that's a kind of shorthand for it. Free and reduced price lunch. That's the total number of students on free and reduced price lunch. Now that's one way to do it. The other way you could do it is with the sum formula, which is one of the great things about Excel is that if you, that equal sign not only turns it into a calculator, it opens up the possibility of doing different things with the numbers. So if you just wanted to add up two numbers, you do what you did instead of having the plus sign in there, you hit sum, which is the formula, to get the addition of L2 and M2. There you go. That's what it looks like in the end. This is the total. Now that's just that's the most ground level thing, and it probably in this case you could probably just do equals L2 plus M2 and you'd be just fine. But if you wanted to add up, if you wanted to find, say, the total number of students that get free meals in the state, and you wanted to do a sum for all of these schools, for instance, you would say equals sum and then all of this. So you'd say from L2 to, we'll just say L35, because you probably don't want to scroll all the way down the sheet here. That's how you find a sum for a large range of things. And that's why the cell function, or the sum function rather, is very useful. Okay, so we've kind of gone through one formula, some references to cells. Is there anything else, any other questions that you guys have at this point? Okay, so yeah, no, that's actually that's a good question, and I was gonna go over this later, but this is a perfect time to do it. If you want to do this, see, there's an easy way to do it. You see, when you hover your mouse over this cell, it's white, but then when you go over that little box in the bottom, it goes black. Now double click on it. Oh, I mean it. Double click on it, and there you go, and that'll fill that all the way down. And you see how if you scroll down, now this is the other thing about it, is that it only scrolls down to if you've got a break in your data, it will stop. So that's kind of a shorthand way to do it. But if it's full, if your data is full all the way through and the program doesn't sense a break, then it should fill all the way down. I'll show you how to do it the full way in just a second. But you can see that obviously as it fills down, it's going down with the row numbers relative to the row that it's in here. Because you're referring to cells in the same row, it's gonna continue to do that all the way down. The other thing that will happen if you just were to copy and paste, it would, oh, did that copy the value there, or is that actually also 293? Okay. Well, see, and it's probably doing it for the same reason that it doesn't fill down after this point, because it senses a break in the data. But if you want to do it the kind of regular way, more or less, you highlight the top, and then you see you kind of scroll all the way down, and you scroll all the way down. Oh, and it's filling as I go here. This is kind of a clunky way to do it. Here, let me try this. Let me do it this way. say? I want to figure out, I'll show you how to do this in the second part, but just to move this along, I can show you the calculation for the next part. I'm going to do the same thing for the year 2012, because you see we've got two different years here. Do free equals sum of free meals and reduced meals. Bingo. So now if you want to fill this all the way down, you click on it, don't drag, go all the way down to the bottom of your formula, because this is a little bit quicker. Highlight all of this. Oh, why is it highlighting two things? Oh, that's why I'm doing it. Okay. There we go. So now you go up to Edit, Fill Down. And that will take the formula and fill it all the way down to the bottom. Beautiful. So you highlight the first cell, or the top cell. You scroll all the way down and highlight the range of cells that you want to fill the formula down through. You can do Shift, click, and that gets you all the way down. It creates a range without doing anything. Yep, Shift, click. Should have mentioned that step. Edit, fill, down. There you go. And now we have, for every single school in the state, we have free and reduced price lunch data for 2013 and for 2012. So this is the other one major thing we want to hit here, is to try and calculate rate of change, which is another, again, it's another way to turn Excel into a calculator. But you have to know what to input, and you have to know in what order to input it. So let's do this. Let's see if we want to calculate the percentage change of free and reduced price lunch in 2012 and free and reduced price lunch in 2013. There's a mathematical formula for that. So I'm going to write this. I'm going to label it in the top column first. Rate of change 2012 to 13 free and reduced price lunch. The way to calculate rate of change, is right here. This old formula. It's the new number minus the old number, all divided by the old. And so with this, if you apply that to this equation here, you take the new data, which is the 2013, minus the old data, and be sure to put it in parentheses, because you're going to have to divide everything above the parentheses with what's below the parentheses, if you remember your algebra, PEMDAS, order of operations, that fun stuff. New data, new data minus old, all divided by the old. So you refer again to this cell, AB2. And that's how you get rate of change. So here you've got an example in this column, you've got the example of a formula at work. And then in this, you've got an example of Excel as a calculator itself at work. If you wanted to say, just for, this isn't indicating anything, but if you want to multiply data, you add in a little asterisk there for the multiplication symbol. And as we did before, to fill it all the way down, it looks like most of these are referred to. So I'll just do it the simple way and double click on the bottom box there. So that's right. Yes, the black cross, not the white cross, right? Like that. All right. That's most of it. If we want to go through this, we could calculate the percentage of students that are on free and reduced price lunch, but these are the basic functions that I think we want to cover. Do we have everybody still at this point? Are we still all with me here? Okay. Any questions? Okay. So right. So of course you can eyeball it if you want, but that's not very presentable, and I wouldn't put this online in any of our stuff. So what you can do is you'd highlight this column. Actually, I think you can probably just click on the top, the highlight the whole column here. And I usually just hit, I remember the hotkey is option 1, or like Open Apple 1. So you say Format Cells, and then you would say percentage. And this one's just showing the top one, but usually you can see in this sample window. But to format it, you go and click on, in this kind of menu here, you click on percentage, and you can probably show 2 decimal places will usually do what you need to do. And there you go. So you can see this one dropped by 11.6%. This one was up by 48%. And that's how you'd interpret that. And then columns where there isn't any data and any relevant data to that, they would be just say divided by 0. No problem. Okay, so there are two ways to do it, and the easiest one is to select all of the data. You can go edit and then, no, you can't do that. I usually just open Apple A or Control A on a PC to highlight all of your data. And then you can sort the data. If you go under this data submenu here and say sort, and you click on it so that you can see the menu. Whoop, that's not how I usually do it. Custom sort. I do everything with hotkeys, so I remember, that's why I had a little trouble finding that there, but you can see. So what do you want to rank it by? Okay, sure. So you've got, in this sort window, you can choose what you want to rank it by. So you could sort it by the number of free and reduced price meals you've got, or you could do it by, any of these numbers that you have. You could do it by name. It would sort them alphabetically. If you want to do it this way, you can decide whether you want to see the largest to smallest, so the ones with the biggest increases on the top and the ones with the largest decreases on the bottom, or the way that we have it right now, largest decreases on the top or largest increases on the bottom of the table as you display it. We'll just do it like that. That's one way to do it. Now, you can then, if you wanted to say how that ranks in the state, for instance, there's another formula that you can do. And this is another one that I actually don't use very often, but it's the rank formula, and it can sort of guide you along here. So the first thing that you want to do is say, if you're using the rank formula, this is something you're eventually going to fill down. What this formula will show you is how this one number compares to an entire range of data that you select. So you can select the number that you want to be comparing. You add a comma, and now you're on the ref portion of the equation. So what set of data are you referring to? And you would select all of the data in the spreadsheet, which will take just a second because there's 1,800 pieces of it. Like that. Oh, not like that. I'll just remember. Well, here you go. Just go up to the formula window. You've got the bottom one there, and delete all of that. So you've got this range selected of data that you want to refer to. Nope, and it's dividing by 0. So this didn't work. But normally what this will do, and I think it's because I've got a bunch of different ones with numbers in it, and these divide by zeros are probably confusing the matter. Let me see if I move this up, if it helps at all. let's see. There we go. So there you go. You've now, so this would be the school with the 1,833rd greatest increase, which doesn't make any sense. Obviously, you would use it to make more sense. But if you fill this all the way down, like we've shown you how to do before, oh, blimey, didn't work. Let's see if I try that and then try filling it down. Sorry about your space. Nope, didn't work. But at least you know for this one, and you're able to rank it. But yeah, and you can compare. Exactly. So this would be the largest increase probably, because all of these are, this down here is kind of, or excuse me, this would be all of this. There's only 1 year of data between the 2 years, so that's why it's getting a bad number here. Divide by 0 means that there's a number missing from the equation. So there you go. Let's see. Let's see if I would say the one that you'll. Yeah. Here's one. Yeah, I've actually, I mean, yeah, let's try upper. Oh, okay. Now this is the one thing I've actually never had to use this, and so am I, in doing this, do you have to do that for every single cell? See, this is something that I've never had to do myself in the upper. That's okay, and I should have made it clear. No. I was futzing around with this, trying to figure out how to make it work myself, and it's. Oh, there you go. So okay. Yeah. So the way you'd probably do that is you'd say upper and then refer to this cell, and then you would do the same by filling up. Now I remember. Here we go. You'd fill instead of down, fill up. There you go. Or average would be a good one to show just quickly. If you want to do an average of this entire selected range here, there's a button for it that makes it simple. So you can say, you can select all of this. I think you have to leave one for it to put the in there. On the top, on the sigma sign, you can click on average, and it puts an average in there somewhere. There we go. So the average number of students in a school in 2013 is 558. So that's one. And you can see that it's used this formula that you could do if you knew the range yourself. It'd be equals average and then the range of cells that you're trying to do. Yes. Let's just change that. And there's 472. So at 1862, say around 900 or so, it'll show you that number. So let's see. Well, it's not sorted by that, so I can't show you that demonstratively right there, but yes. I think there's also one for quartiles. Quartile, and then I think if you do like I think 3 is the upper quartile, if you're, so like at the 75th percentile. 1 would be the lower, because 0 is the lower extreme, be the lowest extreme in enrollment. 1 would be the first quartile. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Thanks for tuning in. No problem. It was good to be here. And thanks for being flexible, everybody, too. I appreciate it.